As Chelsea fans, we all want insight into what's happening behind the scenes with Chelsea Football Club, the new regime, the new coaches, the new players. What's the manager doing? And hopefully this video can bring some of that insight.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Football Therapy, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Football.London, Scott Trotter has written an article with insight coming from Ben Chilwell interview, speaking about what's been happening behind the scenes. Apparently, he speaks on Mudryk getting beasted by Pochettino. He speaks on Mason Mount's exit, and indeed the captaincy at Chelsea. And we've said on the channel, a couple of you have said, Chilwell's a bit of a shout for captaincy. I don't think he surpasses Reece James, but Chilwell is a leader. He's professional. He works really hard. He's, of course, a very good player, incredibly good actually, and he speaks very well as well. He represents the club well, how he talks, and hopefully we're going to gauge a little bit of that today from this article. So I welcome you, and let's see what it's saying. Ben Chilwell hasn't yet been at Chelsea for 3 years, but at 26 already finds himself as the third oldest player in Pochettino's squad, and that is obviously counting the Galactico granddad Thiago Silva, and that's just off the dome piece. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but that is a great name for Thiago Silva. It's like the ultimate neg, a Galactico granddad. Yeah. So third oldest, that's wild, bro. Our squad is so young. Outside the players who came through the academy, the second longest serving player at the club behind Caparita Balaga. That just shows you how profoundly transitional our situation is. He's like one of the OG long servants, and he's not even been here for 3 years. His time in West London has been brief but eventful. The England international's tenure has seen Chelsea win the Champions League, the Super Cup, and of course the Club World Cup as well, but also go through head coaches quite quickly. Of course, Lampard, Tuchel, Potter, and Pochettino. Shout out Bruno Salter as well. We didn't get mentioned there, or having landed the Stamford Bridge hot seat. The latter's arrival has coincided with the high turnover summer for Chelsea following a disappointing 12th place finish in the Premier League last season. 13 players have departed. Wow. And the squad travelled to the United States, this is okay. So just 13 players gone already is wild. Considering, look, Lukaku's gonna go, Ziyech is gonna go, Hudson-Odoi's on the brink of going. So there's 3 more at least, which is gonna be 16 departures in one summer. That's nothing short of biblical amounts of people in terms of transfer exit. And we've got an average age. The average age of the travelling group to USA is 21 years old. 17 of the players 21 or younger making the trip. So hold on, had Thiago Silva not gone on this trip, it would be like an average age of 19 or something, because I imagine he cranks up the average, a lot. Chilwell has offered a rare certainty of someone whose future has not been up for debate. And how? The senior figure of Chelsea's squad extended his contract by a further 2 years to commit to the West London side in 2027. Did he? Have I missed that? Jesus. Perhaps a surprising move in many regards, given Chelsea's struggles and the number of players with an eye on the exit door. Chilwell was firm in his reasoning. He said, Since I've come to Chelsea, I've felt pretty at home. Obviously, I won the Champions League in my first season, and after that, seeing the reaction that I brought up in the club, I want to feel that again. Not just in football, but with Chelsea. So it isn't like, I don't just want to win the Champions League. I want to win the Champions League with Chelsea, mate. I want to help Chelsea get back to winning titles, winning cups, and I know we'll get there in the near future. And I want to be one of the reasons that we get back to that. I love Chile. Chile B, shout out my boy. So, that was the reasoning behind it. I'm not going to run when things go badly. I want to be one of the reasons to help us to get the back the best from Chelsea. Back the best from Chelsea? Yes, indeed. Right, let's read on. It's still early stages of a new world for the Blues, who are unbeaten so far in pre-season. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's been fine. We had a comprehensive win against, Hollywood FC, League Two side Wrexham. We had a bit of a punch-up with Brighton. Probably should have the scoreline flattered them a little bit. And maybe, to be honest, maybe the scoreline flattered Newcastle a bit, one more draw. So maybe, considering we've come from a really dismal place, we're doing pretty darn well, man. Nevertheless, Chilwell has received positive early impression from his new teammates. Chile said this: "What I can say this season from what I felt this season is that every player who is here is giving 100%, and all the young players who have come in are very talented." He said Chile. He goes on to say, "The manager is working us hard. It is just a good group with a good feel. We're all a very close group, and considering there are probably more new players than we had here last season, this wasn't expected. So considering there's loads of new faces, you wouldn't expect them to be so close, but they are, which is great to hear. So for it to be this smooth of a transition and create a unity in the group has meant we are now really close, which is great. The club have done something right in that sense. It feels strange, as we've only known each other a few weeks, but we're all really enjoying being in each other's company. The chemistry is there. They love each other." Good. Very pleasing to hear that. The intense physical effects of 2 sessions each day, centered around the building of fitness, are making a strong impression on players. Already, Chilwell can acknowledge that he is fitter than last summer, with the Blues' capacity to compete regularly. Criticised, of course, this was criticised by Frank Lampard last time, and too many muscle injuries occurring throughout the season. It's been an eye-opening process for the squad. Yet we all know Chelsea were in real poor shape last season, and Lampard came out. He didn't give a crap, did he? He's like, "No, you're all slackers. This is nonsense." Yeah, that's pretty much was the case. Chile goes on to say, "The first week was a bit of a shock for everyone. It reminded me of going back to the youth team days where we would call it getting beasted. It was pretty similar, especially in the first week, but I think we all agreed it was necessary. Our group needed that. Last season, we weren't fit enough, if we're being honest. So every player in the squad agreed that it's what we needed." Yeah, I agree as well. "And it wasn't just the first week, it continued. It will continue for the rest of pre-season. We're being worked hard and we're feeling good for it." Good. I think he's saying that the first week was a shock, like, oh my God, are they joking? But then, like, your body adapts, doesn't it, when you do, like, fitness, and after a while, you're like, okay, this is just what we do now. And they will feel better for it. They would not want to, if they offered these players, you can trade back to how you were before, how much you were training and stuff like that, they'd say, no, I want to do this. I want to be better at football. I want to be fitter, Much like Mark Cucurella suggested in North Carolina, Chilwell agrees that difficult sessions have provided a platform to the team to bond quickly. 100%, he says. "We had a funny, it wasn't funny running session. It was the complete opposite, but something that came out of it was quite funny. We did the Gajon test, or Gacon song test, one day, and we were meant to do 10 runs, but we got to the 8th, and the manager, I still don't know if he was doing this as a mental trick on us, said we could stop if we wanted." Oh, that is horrible. You're trying to impress a new manager, and he just says, "Look, all right, you've done a lot. If you want, you can stop." What do you do? Bearing in mind, you're probably feeling this like profound exhaustion. You can't stop, especially if no one else stops. What do you do? Oh God, it makes me anxious just thinking of it. Everyone was on their knees after the 8th one. And so he said, "If everyone completes the next 2, I'll take you all out for dinner." Of course, we all finished, and now we're waiting for the dinner. I'm sure it'll come, but we just haven't had the time yet. So he must be happy. It is probably mind games from Poch, and I like it. Seemingly effective. Go on, Poch. It's a little wonder Chilwell feels a degree of responsibility to help lift the team, and it's something he's relishing, having talked about the situation with Reece James, a player who put their hat in the ring for the club's captaincy. Nice, he's been talking about with Reece James about it. They're covering both flanks, and they're trying to, maintain the mentality of all the players in between them. Chile says, "There's only a few boys who were here last season, so we feel the responsibility to be leaders of the group." So him and Reece James, which I endorse fully, to help these younger players and lead by example on the pitch, and more importantly, we want the players who can perform week in, week out. help players out around the training ground. This is good. This is what we've been lacking for so long now, around the training ground, and help the younger players on their path to understand the demands of playing for Chelsea, which is to win. Look, man, Chilwell, if you watch interviews with him, like media, he does talk like this. He's really assertive. He's well-spoken. He's kind of like almost a bit preppy, like posh school kid. In a way, but he's a sweet lad. Like, he's well. I don't want to sound derogatory to him, but he's really well spoken, and this is like, I'm not saying I'd choose Reece James as captain over him because of what Reece James represents, but if only you could give a little bit of this verbal swagger to Reece James, he'd be the perfect captain. But yeah, I love that because he's being really assertive about what it means to be Chelsea, leading the youngsters. I know he's a bit older than Reece as well. He's 3 years older. He's 26. So he's probably got that seniority and life experience. And, he's had a high profile transfer, for 50 million quid, which sort of makes you sort your head out a little bit. Reece obviously just came through the academy. So he says that's a must in terms of understanding what it is to play for Chelsea. There's a lot of players here who are very talented, but we need to also make sure that being at Chelsea means we have to win trophies. Oh, Jimmy, tell me more. But yes, for sure, I'm excited for the opportunity to be one of the most experienced players. It can only help me that I have that pressure, I guess. Chilwell is a number of one of the players to don the captain's armband so far this summer before Pochettino picks a permanent leader ahead of Liverpool, and his leadership has been on show. Following the match with Brighton, and the Chelsea star was one of the last players off the pitch and put his arm around Mykhailo Mudryk as they departed after an impressive outing from the Ukraine international, because obviously Mudryk played really well. Chilwell had this to say on that. Yeah, with Misha, I just see endless bags of potential that hasn't been fulfilled yet. I've told him that. I'm not just saying that. I've told him that he hasn't fulfilled that yet for one reason or another. I literally had a conversation with him the other day after training in the changing room because he's been on fire these last few days, and obviously was on fire in the game against Brighton. And I just said he needs to keep that up now for the whole season. We all see how good he is, and he just needs to keep that up, what he's been doing. Wow. Yeah, well, we all know if there's one thing that Misha Mudryk is potential. Across the table, the conviction in Chilwell's voice is clear. That's what the journalist is saying. He's saying you can hear it from Chilwell. Assertive, dominating, commands a room. Personally, I just like to make people feel confident within themselves. If I can come away from a conversation with one of these players where they feel like they're unbeatable, that's what I try and bring out of people. Hold on. This is too, perfectly constructed, this interview press conference, because this is my campaign to be captain. I love young players. We have to win at Chelsea. I'm going to make players better. You know what I mean? And it's, it's working. When I have these conversations with Misha, for example, it's just to make them feel like he's unstoppable. So when he goes into the next game, he's full of confidence. And I try and do that with as many people as I can. Amazing. While only 26, Chilwell has experienced a lot, and it's no surprise he's quickly communicated with both Wesley Fofana and Armando Broja when they suffered with their ACL injuries. The fullback has shared his experience with both players, speaking to Broja every morning as he went through his rehabilitation, and offering his ear if they want to know more about the injury or just talk about the mental struggles that accompany the issue. It's abundantly clear that Chilwell embraces responsibility. So, does he want to be Cesar Azpilicueta's successor? Does Chilwell want to be captain? Dun dun dun! He says, yeah, I would love to be captain. I'm sure you've had that answer off a few players. Of course, Chelsea Football Club. I'd love to be captain. I was captain of the youth team at Leicester and thoroughly enjoyed being that. Just having that role, really, I think brings the best out of me. This has become the campaign, isn't it? This is like a political campaign. How's Reece James going to riposte? I want to hear the Reece James group. Yeah, amazing. Having a little bit more pressure, it tries to help out people around me. I think it's one of my strengths. Whether I get it or not, it's going to not take away from my role. I don't think you need the armband to be a leader. So whether I get it or not, I'll continue to do what I'm doing. Go on, Chile! While Chilwell has quickly found his role within Chelsea's new squad, he has also quickly developed a relationship with the new coaching staff and already finds himself ready to run through walls for Pochettino. The former Spurs boss and his staff are renowned for the interest they take in their players and already went well beyond whether they are ready to put in another sprint. Chilwell talks about them like this. Of course, they're working as hard on the pitch, but they're great guys off the pitch. They take a lot of time personally, and all the staff, they come to talk to you, like Pochettino staff. Not even about football things. Family, life, what you're doing away from football, your favourite TV series, what book you're reading. They take a lot of time to get to know you personally, which makes you feel more comfortable, which makes you feel like you want to go that extra yard, do that extra run, because you feel like there's more of a personal connection. It's not just a manager-player, it's more of a personal relationship where you kind of want to work for each other. God, he's good. And that's the way I found it with him and the staff. I think a lot of his players will agree with that. Already Chilwell has looked at home and in the aspects of Pochettino's system. The former cross-country runner, that's probably why I did well in the Gajon test, has taken physical demands of his new boss well and has produced a fine finish against Wrexham. Good goal, yeah. And perhaps in the following games that the flying fullback has encapsulated the essence of Pochettino's demands. Chile says, the fact that the manager wants to have a role where I am the highest player on the pitch, then getting back with the way to defend, which is obviously my job as a defender, suits me. And, like you said, the way he wants me to play and come out in the Brighton game. Yeah, he always has really high fullbacks, Pochettino. But the way he's saying that there, Reece James, is kind of inferring that maybe he's the highest and Reece James maybe not go as high as him. I guess that would make sense because Reece James has got amazing service and Chile's amazing at finishing. So, you know, he kind of does the Alonso thing where you want him in the box often because he's just another option to score goals, which, yeah, he's such a goal threat, Chilwell, so that makes sense. A little bit of insight there, potential insight to a tactical decision. Yeah. So he goes on to say, it was kind of me and Raz as wingers. Christo was dropping as a false nine. Connor and Ian, Matson, were the players who were making those kind of left to right eights and dropping in between the spaces and the centre backs. I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to tell you too much, yeah, as in like giving away all the tactical information. But from what you guys saw, that was pretty much it. It suits me well. I really enjoyed that role against Brighton where he wanted me to be the last on the line with Levi as well, who is left-footed. I know I have confidence when he has the ball like that I can clip over the top. Yeah, well, great player as well. He added, it was the first time me and him played together. He's a great player. I really enjoyed playing with him. It was a good experience. Cool. Let's talk about Mason Mount. It's a long video, guys, but I really wanted to go through this article with you because I found it really insightful. While things to be trending in a positive direction with Chelsea, it's difficult to ignore the subject that Chilwell has lost one of his teammates in recent months to, most notably Mason Mount, one of the key factors in him joining Chelsea in the first place. Mason is one of my closest friends on the team. On a personal level, you're going to miss one of your best mates that you spend a lot of time with at the training ground and away from the training ground. I think I said it on Instagram when he left. He's one of the reasons why I joined the club. So of course, it's sad for me personally to see him leave, but I'm not going to comment on his reasoning for leaving. I just wish him the best, and I'm sure his head made the right decision. I'm happy for him, and hopefully he can do well. Well, hopefully not that well, because we don't want anyone to do well except for Chelsea. But yeah, incredibly impressive from the Chelsea left-back. Interesting insight on how he's the highest player in the tactics. Interesting insight on the fitness, athletic stuff in the background, his leadership, the campaign for captaincy. Yeah, really, really exciting. I am looking forward to seeing what happens. I look forward to reading your comments as well down in the comment section. Maybe this changed. I think everyone's probably still going to be Reece James, but maybe not. Maybe they'll just see this and think that's a captain. I'll be looking forward to reading your comments. Thanks for joining me. Keep it locked for the next one. Turn the bell on when you subscribe. Peace.